again, guys, I'm sorry about the sun and the wind and that, but so I ran into my first spot. I'm looking like I'm seeing a little deer movement. We're about 15 minutes from the truck. You see we got a path coming through right here, and there's like where the water's draining out of the field. Let's see. You can see they're coming through right here. You can see their trails going through right up through there. So that's where they're coming in and out of the woods, coming through the corn. But this is just a real thin fence row. And I actually, up a little bit more, about another 5-minute walk up north from where I'm at, is where I shot that doe last year at like 50 yards. So I know this place holds deer. I'm just trying to figure out where the bucks are at this year. But that's definitely a spot to, once they cut the corn on this side, I'll make a mental note that that's a spot that I want to check, and I will come back and set on that one night when they actually cut the corn this fall. Well, just like I had expected, there's soybeans back here in this field, but also like 500 yards off, there's a bunch of deer feeding in the soybeans. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get down over there without causing a scene or without getting noticed, because I'd really like to get these guys on film. I think it's just a bunch of does right now, but yeah, there's some big, oh, there's a bunch of turkeys too. A bunch of turkeys. The wind's blowing right in my face, so we're pretty well clear. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is, bear with me on this. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to walk this corn row back to the edge of those trees, and I'm going to cross back there and walk that tree line and see how it kind of comes out over here. How it kind of comes out. Maybe I can get behind that dead wood, and then those deer are way back there in that back corner. I doubt you can see them off the GoPro. But there's a bunch of turkeys right there too. So I think I'm gonna do that. And we're just gonna try to stay low, go slow, and fingers crossed. I'm gonna go and switch my lenses out now. But they're like out in the middle of that field, so they should be feeding for a little while. I might be able to sneak around and get on them. Oh, I made it across the gun. But I think those turkeys are on to me. The deer are still out there. They don't give a hoot. They probably won't until those turkeys bolt off. But no, it's a doe. Big ears. It's a doe with big ears. She sees me from here. Alright, well, we're leaving. We left spot number 1. We're at spot number 2, just leaving the truck. It's a little bit shorter spot as far as how thick the woods is, but we get into the CRP pretty quick, and looks like this front field's planted with beans, so that means the back field's probably corn. But we're definitely gonna go, Skeeter. We're definitely gonna go check it out, because you never know till you go back there and look. And I've got a good feeling that if that's also beans, that's where the deer are going to be at. It's a little more secluded. It actually lays about 5 foot lower geographically. It's like in a bowl. So the thermals are going to set a little lower there, so they're going to feel a little bit safer. And the grass gets tall. But if I was a deer, that's where I'd want to be. Probably stays cooler, cools off faster, gets shade faster. So we're going to check out these two fields, give them a quick looky over, and then we're going to bolt back to that back field and see if we can't sneak up on something. Well, that's a negative for this field too. It is nothing but whatever this weeds are. As far as my little eyes can see. So now that I've sweated my butt off, walked all the way back here to see that the field is indeed planted with nothing and just a bunch of weeds. There's one more small field to check. But does anybody know what this crap is? It's frustrating, I know that much. I'll give you a better shot of it. That crap. Look at that. What is it? Let me know down in the comments. I ain't good with all this, like, wild plants and stuff. And I know you're thinking, man, you're out there scouting, you're being loud. It's like, yeah, but I know the topography enough to know there ain't no deer bedded back on that side because it's nothing but a lake. If they would have been bedded back there because of my wind, they'd already blowed out. So I came in this specific way to check some of these back corners, which is where they would go first. So if they were in the field, it would have been fine. They wouldn't have blowed out. But they were not, so I'm going to traipse through all this junk, hit this other small field back here, and I guess I'll go home and get lunch, or dinner at this point of the day. Go home and get dinner, and I might have to do another day of scouting to get some deer on film for you guys, because this ain't looking too promising, to be honest with you. This is kind of sad. What is up, my dudes, and I assume some dudettes? I'm out at a little piece of public land that I have not set foot on since, like, well, Veterans Day last year. I'm actually on the opposite side of a piece of public where I shot my buck last year. Looks like they've already pulled the corn, which is pretty crazy. Check it out. Planted corn out here, and it's all been pulled. So it's good to know. I didn't even know what they had planted out here last year. This field actually didn't get planted. So this is gonna actually really impact how I go about the beginning of opening week of season. I got the first week to hunt, and then I've got antelope in Wyoming with my buddy Andrew, and then directly after that we're gonna go to Colorado to chase I think he's got a cow tag for elk, so that's exciting. But historically, this route that I'm walking down this tree line, this fence row, deer love this. So I'm seeing tracks everywhere, but that's expected. They run this in the evening pretty hard, coming off of the private directly behind me. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna see what they got planted where, and see where the most like heavy traffic is. Kind of what I want to do is, first week of season, I really just want to put a doe down, a big doe. That way I've got a little camp meat to take with me to Wyoming. Maybe make some jerky, maybe make some, you know, bologna, trail bologna, whatever. But looks like there's a lot of corn. Corn's been hit, but there's a lot on the ground still, like whole corn cobs. So we'll give this a good look over and see what we can come out of for this side of this field, but probably won't set it too much. Depends on what they got set on the other side. If they got like milo or millet, something like that planted, then yeah. But if they've got beans planted on the other side, beans are usually a lot better early season than the corn, at least out here, because corn's got a lot of carbs in it. Processing carbs makes you hot. It's hot early season, so usually they're eating the green stuff. It's got a little more moisture in it. So let's see. Let's get going. Guys, check this out. Look at that. Straight funnel, man. All that deer traffic going right off around that corner. That's a lot of traffic. So what we got here, is, let me move that. Okay, so what we got is there's a natural funnel coming, you can see it, where this water's draining and coming right down through here. So they don't want to walk those high ridges, they want to walk this lower stuff, especially in the mornings when everything's warming up, the ground's still cold. All those thermals where the ground's colder down here are going to seep down until the ground warms up, and they're going to be able to smell everything in the morning coming through. So even if you got a wind blowing like this and you're sitting down this tree line, there's a good chance those thermals are going to pull your scent down, kind of out like curtains draping on the ground, and they'll be able to smell you farther away even with a little bit of a breeze. So they're funneling all through here, then right out into those beans. So that's something we're going to pay attention to. So what we got here going on is I've crossed that tree line into this other field, and it looks like they haven't planted anything, and they haven't really cut it, so it's just chest tall like switchgrass and canary grass and real thick bedding. And that's not necessarily a bad thing whenever you have a lot of food plots planted. Like out here, there's a lot of big ag fields cut by sections of timber, because this is going to be great travel corridors for these deer early season before everything dies off. So what we got right here is I can actually see tracks pretty pressed into the ground, fresh, of a pretty good buck. His dew claws are real big, they're deep, he's real spread, thick pads. So this is probably a three-year or older deer. And he's right now, the only sign I'm seeing is him coming from that bean field this way. So I'm going to assume this is a morning track coming from feeding, and see. So if we were to be focusing on over there on that where the corn's cut, we probably wouldn't have seen these tracks too much, because over there I only saw like young doe tracks and maybe some young bucks, but they're all smaller deer. This is a good mature deer, so we definitely would focus more on this side of the tree line than the corn side, at least in the morning. So that's good to know. We're going to log this on our Onyx, and we'll probably figure out some way to set this spot. Alright, so this is pretty much what I'm wanting to look for, starting to get into this. All this thick timber back here is all bedding. It's young and it is thick, but look at that. And right there, there's another one. So there's some good rubs coming through here with a game trail going like that, right over there, right on the edge of this corn. So what I'm thinking is I might actually set a corner of this, find a way to get a hang on or something up in some of these. There's a bur oak right over here. That's a pretty heavily used rub right there. It's right here on this tractor path. We're about 1.5 miles in. So we're kind of getting where you don't really see many other hunters any time of the year. And that path is still pretty used. So that gives me a good feeling that something is still coming through and checking those. And with rubs and scrapes on that path, you know, even if it's not a buck, it's probably a mature doe still running that at the very least. And that's what we want to do first thing in first week of the season, is put down a big doe before we got to head out of here. I mean, I'm not going to turn down a buck, but definitely we'll try our best to put down a good doe. Alright guys, so I went back into that thick stuff and it is so thick. There is some good deer sign, but I wanted to back out and I wanted to that area is going to be like, I'm going to go in and set it, and that'll be the first time that I'm in there. I don't want to muddle it up any. So we're going to look at another pinch point, either back that way or right up here in these old dried out creek bottoms. There's water up in here only during like really high floods. At least that's what it looks like. And everything's super dry, so. Oh guys, check it out. This is crazy. Looks like we found a kill. Look at that. That turkey got walloped. Something killed it and ate it, probably Yoder. There's a lot of bobcats out here. That's crazy. I saw these feathers from coming down the hill. That's gnarly, man. Yeah, it don't look like it's been. The beard's still there. Still got his talons. That's fresh too, man. That's like a day. It's like a day old. That was killed today. Cause it's not. It's barely even dried out. That's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah. I'm just gonna continue on this ridgeline a little bit, but I ain't all about that. If there's bobcats and yotes running out here that bad that I'm running into fresh carcasses, we might not hunt this ridge, or we might if there's really good sign, but can't be good luck. What do you guys think? I don't think that's good luck. I think I found where I'm going to put my camera at. This is one spot where I see there's a lot of tracks kind of down the center. At the smallest point, it's probably 15 yards across, which is still a little bit too wide for my camera to set it on one side and fit, like, get shots of the whole thing. So what I'm going to try to do is, here's this dead, looks like an old some sort of spruce, but it's dead. So I'm actually going to take one of my screw-in mounts, which you can't do to anything that's alive, but seeing as this is dead, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And I'm going to cover myself with more bug spray because I'm paranoid now. I got chewed up last week scouting, but it's probably about 25 or so yards wide right here. I think I can put it in the center and get a bigger shot of them coming. I think they're coming from that way, because if you go this way, the creek kind of bends. There's a non-cut, just like a CRP field right there, and you got about 25-30 yards of hardwoods. And I think they're just walking through here picking up these little oaks and black walnuts and all that. So that's what we're going to at least hope for. So I'm going to put this up and get the old cutty back out. Those squirrels are ticked. We're going to set that up. Well guys, I think that's going to about do it for today. It's hot, and I ain't really seen any deer, which I expect them to be bedded kind of on the river bottoms where it's a lot cooler. We're gonna get out of here before they start to come up here where it's to feed and stuff. So thanks for following along. There's gonna see a lot more of these type of vlog things coming pretty quick once season starts. Yeah, see you guys on the next one.